Good day, everyone. I hope you enjoy the Monday, but you hopefully find time to join us and be very happy to announce that our Global Trends in Legal Tech event finally is live. And also, I want to show you our, I think, very insightful speakers who also joined me to discuss today legal tech not only in Ukraine but across the Europe. And first of all, I want to share with you the small agenda. We had two parts of our event. So first part, it will be presentation from our speakers, and the second one, panel discussion. So if you have your questions, please keep them in your mind and share with us during the panel discussion. But of course, if you have something to ask right now, leave comments. We see your comments, and we will try to answer your questions during the event. I'm so glad to introduce you, Anna, Laura, Miles, also Petya, and Przemysław Barchan, and also it's honor for us to have Greg from ELTA. All these people today share with you our experience of being expert in legal tech, and also our insights about feelings in the legal tech market that we have today. And let me give a speech for each speaker before starting, and I'm asked to join the stage Greg.
Thank you very much, Regina. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'll just give really a very brief intro. I want to make sure that all of you have time to discuss really these global trends in legal tech. You have wonderful experts on this panel. Obviously, we have fellow ambassadors from ELTA, with Peter, with Laura, with Przemysław. So obviously, great to see you all on stage. Maybe a few words on the European Legal Technology Association. We're a global association of legal tech enthusiasts, but it's a bit more than just being enthusiasts. It's about actually actively promoting and fostering the adoption of legal technology across our different regions. Each one of these ambassadors, and the one that you have on this presentation today, are experts in their domains and also locally in their markets. They follow trend, they actively support local initiatives. We also know that sometimes legal tech means more than just productivity tools. It's also sometimes about access to law, access to justice, especially in countries like Ukraine at the moment. So really strong thoughts for all of these initiatives that have been pushed forward by all these ambassadors. We obviously actively encourage you to really follow and support our initiatives. We're conducting reports and studies like what we've been doing last year over the GenAI report we've conducted, but we're also delighted to contribute to initiatives like the one that is hosted today by Legal Hackers, and so happy to join forces with Legal Tech Friends. Thank you so much for having me, Regina.
Thank you, Greg. And I must say that we're excited to share experience not from Ukrainian perspective, because legal tech now for us, it's something more than just technology. It's sometimes the tools that can even help to survive in some cases. So it's very pleasant to see all of you, and also to share with you how war changed Ukraine, and also heard how your markets is changing. Next, I want to ask Anna to introduce a bit herself and also tell us about a bit more about your insights.
Hello, my name is Anna. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So welcoming notes from Tallinn, Estonia. I think we are the furthest way up in the north than the rest of you. So we represent the Legal Hackers Estonian chapter, and just a presentation of the legal tech sort of trends that are happening here will follow then later. Or do you want me to start the presentation already?
just a quick jump to introduce our speakers. And next one, I want to ask Przemysław, our neighbor from Poland, to introduce himself and maybe tell some inspiring words for us.
Hi everyone, my name is Przemysław Barchan. I'm ELTA Ambassador in Poland. I'm a lawyer also. I'm a director of Legal Tech Institute of National Bar Council. Also Warsaw Legal Hackers, so a bit of different organizations. Yes, in fact, we have different activities in Poland, but I think that we can talk about it a bit later. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, it's a pleasure to have you as a speaker.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be there. Thanks, Regina, for the invitation. I also have, like all of you, I would say, many hats here. I am the ambassador for Spain for ELTA. I am also on the operational board of Legal Hackers globally. I used to be, I'm not anymore, co-organizer for Madrid. And apart from that, I work as a legal designer. I have a legal design agency called Legal Shake. I'm based in Spain, in Madrid, so I'm French, so I have a bit this two countries perspective, and it's really, really nice. I think that this array of people really shows what is best in legal tech, and I would say that's definitely it's people and the bonds that exist between the people united by the will for legal improvement and legal innovation. So thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Miles, I'm admired to also have a word from you, and I know that you also represent of interesting, let's say, direction from legal tech. Please have your word.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Miles Farnsworth. I'm an associate at Taylor Wessing in the UK. So I do technology and data law, but like Laura as well, I'm a legal designer. So I'm in our legal design team, and I'm also part of our internal technology and innovation team, where we come up with new legal tech solutions internally that we use and externally for clients. So it'd be really interesting to hear from everybody's opinions on how they're using legal tech, what they see in their countries, because I always find whenever I tune into these conversations that what's happening in the UK is also really sometimes quite different, and because of the differences in the legal systems with the UK and the EU. So I really look forward to hearing the discussions today.
Thank you, Miles. And last but not least, Petya Belik from Ukraine.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. I'm Peter Bilik from Yuskutum law firm. We have developed different legal tech projects since 2014. Some of this legal tech project was mentioned by the Financial Times Innovative Lawyers report. We have launched and developed different projects like Legal Alarm, Patent Bot, Pseudobot, COVID-19, Immigration for Ukraine, Report Tax, and other. And also, I am ambassador of European Legal Tech Association, and I am alumni of Legal Design School from DOT Helsinki. So I'm happy to be here and wish you enjoy this great event and to know more about legal tech in different countries. Thank you, participants and speakers, and Regina especially.
Thank you, everyone. But first of all, I want to ask also Greg to share not only perspective of one country, but as also representative of ELTA, to share with us what the direction, what the vibe we have in Europe, because we understand that legal tech in each country is very different, but still European, I think, legal tech also have some features that can be common for everyone. So Greg, it would be a pleasure to hear from you some insights.
Thank you, Regina. Well, it's interesting to see the different paths that many countries in Europe have followed over the past year. there was actually a publication recently in the Legal Technologist, the online magazine, in which many of ELTA's ambassadors have contributed, including a couple of those that are present today, and all of them sharing really their insights over what is happening in their own market. What is very interesting is the stage we're at. Obviously, it would be very obvious to talk about the impact of AI and more specifically generative AI over development of solutions, but this is will be a phenomenon which goes on top of everything else. What we're seeing globally is really some trend that is getting now a lot stronger, which is a concentration of legal technologies, product and startups. They tend to actually have product cycles that are a bit faster than before. Maturity of markets are getting faster. And so adoption or actually depth of these projects tend to be a lot faster as well. So a lot of concentrations, a lot more of merger and acquisitions, not so much in terms of volume, so not many more acquisitions, but tend to be a bit larger. So more actually higher prices and investment being made in these acquisitions, so in the M&A world. Obviously, with the slowdown that with economic downturn last year, but still actually a significant trend to follow. The other very interesting aspect is really around how legal professionals overall, and not just in law firms, but also in-house and other types of professions have evolved. I think the maturity keeps growing and people keep understanding a lot better what is happening with technology overall and how this helps on a daily basis. But most of all, I think that fast enough to keep really the pace of the development of these technologies themselves. So what is happening now is kind of a gap being really widening now for the past almost year and a half, 2 years. Obviously, this is also to the benefits of many consulting firms that started actually to get in this area, supporting implementation of technology for legal professionals overall, but also a different type of trend, which is legal services providers of many different sorts, including also in this family law firms that tend to also get in the space of developing their own technology. And this is where we start reconnecting with AI overall and having also legal providers which are becoming progressively, and this is also my opinion, will become a lot more tech providers as well at the same time, providing the legal services and the technology for also a question of liability, certainty over many different things. So we're seeing many different trends, and obviously AI has been accelerating a lot of this, as much as also COVID has been accelerating a lot of this. So very, very interesting times. I believe 2024 with a different downturn also will probably encourage different dynamics. It's important to also to keep in mind that we barely have a bit more than 1 year with this Gen AI bubble bursting into our world. So we're still not very mature yet, and there's a lot more to come. This is really in a few words what I wanted to share. So thank you again for having me for this introduction.
Thank you, Greg, for such inspiring, in fact, words, because I must say that not only in Ukraine, I think we have a lot of discussion about what the influence of artificial services on legal market. And it would be good also to hear from all of you, your point of view. And thank Greg for sharing with us yours. And the next speaker, I want to invite Przemysław Barchan from Poland, who also share with us his opinion about legal market in Poland. Of course, we don't say that today you will get the full research for each market, but we will try to give you as much as possible information to just have this big picture of each country and Europe in general.
Okay, thank you. I will just share with you my presentation. Okay, going through. I would rather say that we need to discuss situations probably in also other countries, but in Poland, I would say that we can tell about legal tech before ChatGPT and maybe after. So let's say the line mark, the time borderline will be something like December 22, January 23. As you can even see, the graphic generated by DALL-E in ChatGPT, it's rather showing traditional lawyer also in modern vibes, but without too much use of technology, just normal IT infrastructure, computer, some basic systems. It also dependent on situation of the size of the law firm, let's say of the awareness of lawyers, and also of the budget, which is also important. I would like to present you very fast some results of legal tech report that was presented by CHBEK Poland last year. It showed the situation based on their survey, based on something around 250 lawyers. Maybe it's not so representative for the whole market, but let's say it can give us some hint, at least on the level of lawyers surveyed in different cities, not only in those bigger law firms like international one or some big Polish law firms. Because of the size, you can see law firms that are small, that are 1 to 3 to 5 staff members. But you can also, on the other hand, you can see law firms in Poland that have 200 lawyers plus administration staff. So it's the situations of those law firms, it's very different to each other. As I remember, statistics for advocates in Poland, because we have two different, let's say, main bar professions. We have advocates and also attorneys at law. And in case of advocates, it's something around 70 to 75% of the whole number of advocates in Poland that are practicing as solo entrepreneurs or in small law firms up to 3, but not more than 5 staff, size of 5 staff members. But going back to reports, the survey was conducted at the beginning of 23, and surveyed lawyers were asked what type of legal tech tools they were using at the end of 22 and beginning 23. And as you can see, it's in percentage of the surveyed lawyers. You can see that most of them, but not every, presented legal information systems, which in Poland, in fact, we for the last, let's say, 15 in fact, something around at least 10, 12 years, we have 2 main players on the market, one from CHBEK and the others from Wolters Kluwer. And as you can see, 87% of the surveyed lawyers are using this information systems with legislations, with court rulings, with administration decisions, and also with commentaries and books, legal books related to different topics. But when we go just through the next positions that were indicated as the main tools used at the edge of those 2 years, you can see that the second one, which is a bit more, it's near 60%, there were tools for searching of competent courts and institutions. So just something practical one in administrative procedures and also in litigation cases, just to check which court, which institution is competent for their situation, for their court or administrative proceedings. And after that, you also have business information systems, which in fact, in our situations, both main such tools are just modules, also included in legal information systems, but they were indicated by surveyed lawyers as something separate. Which is maybe not so surprising for me, but it also shows the level of utilizing of legal tech tools in Poland by the whole legal market. I'm not telling about those with a high level of awareness in bigger law firm or tech geeks. But mainly as a representation for the market, only 34% of the surveyed lawyers, in fact, are using case or practice management systems, which is in current times, or it's at least a bit should be something useful and something basic just to organize their legal practice. To have control over different cases and clients. And after that, not less, but the document automation platforms and compliance tools, which in fact it's, I would say, it's a bit, important on EU market, but also very, very practical. And you will see it on other slides of the presentation. But very popular on the legal tech market as of the number of tools. On the other side, you have also the question was about to indicate the important technologies for development of legal market, and as you can see. Most of them indicated electronic signature, which in fact on just different business sectors, it should be something as a standard one. In Poland, on legal market, we got some boost of purchase of electronic signatures when there was COVID times. So 2020, 21st, and a bit of 22. Now you could think that it's rather standard, but not all of Polish lawyers have electronic signatures, but as qualified ones. But in Poland, we also have a couple of different electronic signatures which are provided by government. So in fact, when you have, let's say, trusted profile in Poland, which is used for different administration and public accesses to public services, they can also, at least in some of the court platforms, use this trusted profile. So maybe this is one of the reasons that electronic, at least qualified electronic signature is not so popular on legal market. As the second one, they indicated electronic ways of signing and storing of contracts. After that, smart contracts, blockchain, and AI. You can even see that AI was indicated only by 12%. At the beginning of 23, so very few. It was just at the time when the market get to know about existence of ChatGPT. I mean, the market, this part of the market that wasn't interested in such topics before. Also, based on this legal tech report, you can see the use of practice management systems. This survey was conducted on 200 lawyers, and you can they asked them if they were using or if they plan to use, and you can easily see that in 21, 22, and 23. At least the proportions started to change, and at the beginning of 23, 29% declared that they were using practice management systems, and 37% that they don't use but they plan to use, and only 34% that they don't use and they don't plan to use. So comparing to 21 and 22, at least the last option, so don't use and don't plan to use, it's a decrease, let's say in a bigger amount, which is good. So also the awareness is rising, and the need for such tools. Also, they were asked about possible areas of automatization and optimization, so good in their perspective. And here you can see percentages of surveyed lawyers in-house and also lawyers from law firms. You can easily see that the main important and the biggest percentage of the surveyed lawyers indicated at first the financial side of the work, so time recording, billing, and invoicing. Apart from that, electronic communications with clients, document management and storage, and core information platforms integration, work effectiveness analytics, document analysis, and more. But when you can see, in fact, apart from financial tools, apart from electronic communication and document management, in fact, the rest were just indicated in the survey by less or much less than half of the surveyed lawyers. Here we can see a Legal Tech map created by Legal Tech Polska Foundation, so Legal Tech Poland Foundation, and also by Rentowna Kancelaria in 2022. It shows a bit, let's say, it's not how to say a closed one. There were also other startups or other services or products on legal tech market, but I would say that those were the main ones, the most even if not popular in use, rather popular just for the legal tech market. And as you can see, it's in Polish, but I will try to describe it shortly. That a lot of them are related to compliance or regulations. We have GDPR tools, we have cybersecurity, so for CipherDoc, SpecFile for encryption of files and sending it to the other side or clients. We have automatization of documents, which was also popular. There are also products not only from Poland, but most of them are. For example, it's a good story. You can see on the automatization of documents site in Telex. It was startup. It was tool created for generation of clauses. So it was basing on your knowledge management of clauses in different documents in contracts, and it helped you as an add-in to Office files, to Office package, to help you work faster on documents. And in fact, after 1 or 2 years of their business activity, they just stopped providing the service. Last year or 2 years ago, just the whole technology was bought by other company, but they plan to start it, but I haven't heard about marketing it again. We also see systems of legal information. So as you see, not only the biggest basic ones, but also new created by legal tech providers like judicatura.pl. It's, for example, information legal systems that is a base of decisions and court rulings related to GDPR. So every GDPR professionalist could use it on a great level and have it in one place. We have a lot of different, it's a bit similar to EU market, but we have also a lot of different legal tech providers related to whistleblowing directive. So as you can see, WeMoral, System, Signalisty, Signalista24, Signalnet, and so on. We have also platforms for helping for electronic conclusion of and execution of contracts, like Authenti, Pact, Umownik. We have compliance rules and also some other ones that are also on Polish market. For example, it's joined to Estonia. Hugo Legal, it's also in Poland, but it's Estonian product. So what was after ChatGPT? I would say that it's increased, let's say, a bit of awareness. Some lawyers started using it, but not for provision of legal services, in fact, because of a lot of different reasons. But it influenced, at least at the end of 2023 and also with the beginning now of 2024, the situation, because there started to appearing new legal tech providers, or the old ones, but using also LLMs technologies, or just implementing ChatGPT or other similar into their services. So after marketing of ChatGPT by OpenAI, we've seen some changes through 2023. So the reasons for the increase of use, because also we noticed, maybe not so high, but we've noticed a higher increase of legal tech usage. I would say that it helped with the rise of awareness. Maybe not very good level or high level, but at least a bit, because people started to be interested about the AI, what it is, and theoretically if I can use it. It also, it's because of the partial increase of the budget. So at least those bigger law firms and Polish medium size started thinking about having budget also for some legal tech implementations. It was also because of the competition. So if my competitors start using something, or they are just talking about using something, maybe I would also need to think about it. We have also access to LLMs and ChatGPT platform, which from now in the last couple of months, you can create your own ChatGPT, let's say, chat, and dedicate it for your own purposes, and start using it for your own, or just market it in OpenAI marketplace. And also we have bar associations activities. I can tell you about National Bar Council and creation of Legal Tech Institute. We've started a lot of different meetings related to, let's say, legal tech and tech awareness for advocates. We also provide them with a lot of different information tools. We also taught them about cybersecurity. We've created also cybersecurity guidelines for bar association members. So it's, let's say, we try to provide them as many information as possible. And also, which is something not so common on the market as of bar associations within the world. Maybe Canada, I haven't heard about anyone other, but Canada was first, and probably National Bar Council was second. We've provided the possibility for our members to start using on a commercial basis, but with bigger and more preferable discounts, dedicated tool for practice management. And we've done it with Wolters Kluwer, Poland. So our members are also provided with such basic tools. And we can also talk about the reasons for slow adoption. As always, small budget, privacy and data security. I'm talking about the reasons for slow adoption on Polish market. It's the reasons for our users, for Polish users, that stops them for adoption or just limiting such adoptions. So one of the main reasons it's budget, it's privacy and security. It's also lack of optimization of processes within law firms. Because sometimes it totally makes no sense to implement, to adopt some solutions within the organization if you even don't know how to optimize your own processes without using it. Also, it's lack of knowledge management, lack of adoption to local conditions of the solutions. Yes, it's also a problem sometimes. maybe I won't say about given solutions, but some of them had bigger problems on Polish markets. In my opinion, when I tested them a couple of times, I would say that it was rather not meeting the client needs, so they were not adopted to our conditions, or even if it was a Polish provider, I would say that the adoption was without the bigger survey on the client needs. It was just creation of some tech solutions, but without the real reason and showing the value for clients, and also low level of awareness. And the last one, probably language. I would say that there are a lot of different good solutions on the EU market that theoretically could be used by Polish lawyers, but probably one of the reasons for slow adoption and not using such tools is let's say the problem with language. I just suppose that it can be the issue because even if a lot of different lawyers in Poland speak different languages, in a lot of different cases, in particular in those from smaller law firms, they just prefer to use Polish language tools. Just not to think if they understand something properly, or just to generate, let's say, some financial documents for clients without the need of any translations. And as an examples of Polish legal tech products, just new one that were created in the last 2 months, or just market in the last 2 months, also related to the situations with ChatGPT. You can see AI chatbot William, which can give you legal answers. You have Itogis, which is dedicated to family case law. It's for generation of court documents, just to use it and send it. Probably more preferred to use by consumers, but I've seen that they also have a module for law firms. We have Novelli, which is also AI assistant, trained on different regulations, commentaries, and court rulings. Good functions of Novelli is because it's also based with the technology of ChatGPT, but it's because it can analyze documents that you just provide to this chat, and it can summarize it or just give you answers based on these documents, or just let's say some information on court rulings. We have also Blink KRS, which is related to the signatures of contract parties in documents. It uses the information from court registers, company court registers, just to help you to check the information and put and include in the documents correct current data. We have also Neula, which is low-code platform, Polish one. We have Notary, which is platform dedicated for document generation, but for notaries. And also we have 2 additional product services related to just encryption and safe communications with clients. So just to sum up, and some predictions for at least for Polish market, I would say that there will be bigger need in 24-25 for legal tech tools use, but I've listed let's say a couple of them. So probably the number of practice management systems, the use of practice management system will increase, at least as it shows with the statistics of the end of the year. Also legal information system and regulation tracking systems, it's because we have so many different regulations also on the EU level that just to track all the changes, track all the information, let's say in the legislation processes, is so hard that it's probably one of the most common, let's say, legal tech tools that will be used in the next 2 years and after that. Also data analytics, also integrated chat assistants, I wouldn't say that they will be used within 24-25 for lawyers for legal services, so including also confidential information, but they will be used just to generate some documents which after will be, let's say, used with confidential data, but implemented by the lawyer itself. Also security and encryption tools and record management systems, compliance, as I said before. And also, in my opinion, 24-25 will bring some consolidation among old and small legal tech vendors. It's also related to the possibilities of the market. So a lot of the market is consisting of small law firms which don't have that big budget as the big ones, and they will need to divide their sources to use only some of the products. Also, we will see new vendors and legal tech products, in my opinion, mainly based on ChatGPT or other similar chat and LLMs technologies. It's because let's say it's not so difficult to create such, basing just on API of the service providers like even OpenAI, and it's just an idea creation and creating of interface for such products. But yes, probably a lot of them, if not most of them, within the new one products for next 2 years will be probably related to such chats. Also, in my opinion, in-house legal departments will increase their spendings, maybe not so much, but still. In-house, the organizations and companies are more, let's say, they are after higher level of adoption than law firms, I would say, in general on the Polish market. Let's say taking separately big ones and international law firms, which they are just getting a lot of different adoptions and implementations from abroad. We can also see that a big advantage will have those services that will be interoperable and integrated with different solutions. In fact, for Polish market, for example, big plus, and it's rather standard now for practice management systems, it's that they are integrated with court information platform, just to provide lawyer within the practice management system of information of the given cases that he accepted within the system. And also we will see bigger use, the increase of the use of generative AI on consumer service markets. So they will be mainly with the confidential information, but in fact used by the clients, consumer clients themselves, not by lawyers. And we will also see a bigger need for non-lawyer staff, mainly in companies and also in bigger law firms, in smaller amounts on let's say the rest, small law firms and even sometimes medium one. And in my opinion, the last two, we would see a slightly increase of the use of no-code and low-code platforms. And in my opinion, probably big increase, at least in relation to bigger law firms, probably of Copilot from Microsoft. So thank you. That will be my presentation for you. If you will have any questions, I will be glad to answer them.
Dear audience, if you have a question related to the presentation of Przemysław, please let us know in comments. We see them, we appreciate them, and also it's good time to share also this broadcasting. Przemysław, I'm very glad that you was the first, because except Polish market, you also introduced us I think more broader perspective. I must say that exactly such discussions very good to see what the similarities and what the difference between market, because I also see the main problems that you let's say line up in this presentation, but also it's very interesting and insightful direction for even Ukraine, and I hope not only Ukraine. But next, not last, gorgeous speaker will be Anna Verpuu that share with us also experience of Estonia. I think one of the most progressive country in legal tech market. Of course, we also have Miles from UK, but let's first know what's happening in legal tech market in Estonia.
Hello, can you hear me and can you see the slides?
Yes.
All right. So thank you, Przemysław. Sorry for the pronunciation. My Polish colleague for mentioning also some Estonian legal tech solutions as well. So my name is Anne Verpalo, and just to give you a little bit of information about my background, so I've been dealing with legal stuff already for the past 20 years, in majority in law firms as an attorney, also have in-house experience and then servicing NGOs. Currently, I also chair the IP and IT law committee at the Estonian Bar Association. And as already mentioned, I represent here the Estonian Legal Hackers affiliation. How I would very simplistically divide legal tech is, and this is apologies to anyone who wants to do it in a more comprehensive way, is that legal tech is sort of targeting making lawyers' lives easier, like my life easier, and it also is targeting to take lawyers off the picture so that the legal can be done without lawyers' involvement. And this is sort of the main idea in my presentation as well, that and I will leave on the side actually the legal tech that makes the lawyer's life easier, and will more focus on the legal tech that is actually trying to sort of take the lawyers off the picture, which is these three categories, as you can see on the screen: artificial intelligence, compliance tech, and interoperability tech. Just a little bit about Estonia. Estonia is very tiny. We have only 1.3 million people living here. Only approximately 900,000 of us speak Estonian. So it's a really challenge to build anything here for our market. And that's why we are known as the land of unicorns, because we don't build anything for our own market. We build everything for the global market. And we have these unicorns or startups that are really well known. Of course, there is a fight over allegiance, whether Skype is Estonian or Swedish or some other countries. But we have these three very strong unicorns from Estonia, which is Skype, Bolt, and Wise. None of them are in legal tech space, but they are still sort of building the culture here that anything you build, you should build for the wider audience, for the world. And we have about 10 unicorns, which means that billion US dollar worth companies here in Estonia. There is the highest level of 7.7 unicorns per capita. We sort of proud ourselves with. But what I wanted to say is that out of those 10 unicorns, 2 of them are actually related to somewhat legal tech, because they're related to compliance tech, and I'll explain what I mean by compliance tech. I'll give you a brief update on these 2. So you can see them as ID.me and Verif, and this is what they do. ID.me is actually focusing only primarily for the US market. And it is an online identity network company that allows people to provide proof of their legal identity online for access government services, healthcare logins, and discounts from retailers. And Verif, one of our unicorns, is AI-powered identity verification platform for fraud prevention, compliance, and safeguarding your customers. Why is this sort of very Estonian? And this is just to sort of, those of you who haven't heard about Estonia being a digital nation and the Estonian program called e-residence, then you should know that when Estonia became re-independent in the early 1990s, the World Wide Web was discovered or invented by Tim Berners-Lee, right? So it sort of all happened in parallel. The world was becoming sort of more accessible digitally, and Estonia became re-independent because we became re-independent again after being under a lot of censorship, after being cut away from the sort of capitalist world. We sort of regarded internet and World Wide Web and digitalization as our sort of path to freedom and our guardian of freedom in a way. And since 1996, our government actually enforced a program called Tiger Leap, which means that internet must be accessible to all. Internet was in all schools, in all libraries, in all government facilities, in all cafeterias. It was like a right to have access to knowledge, right? So from this point on, internet was everywhere, and digitalization was something that had to be like very much of a core of Estonian thing. But what also happened was in 2007, we had something we call a Bronze Night, which actually instilled a lot of backlash from the Russian-speaking minority in Estonia, but also brought about a cyber attack against Estonia. And the cyber attack against Estonia, Estonian government sites, Estonian media outlets, and all of their digital online sites resulted in Estonia actually thinking more about not only how to secure their data, so cyber security stuff, but also about digital identities. And we started really strongly paving the way of, the government started really strongly paving the way to the electronic identity being sort of attached to every single person in the country. So everyone, when the previous presenter was saying that not every lawyer in Poland has a qualified electronic signature, then everyone in Estonia, not only lawyers, but every person in Estonia has a qualified electronic signature, and it's given by the government. It's given by the government. It's a link to the chip of your ID card. You can sign every single day. We do it every single day. We use the government's provided electronic signature availability, and we actually also are a forerunner in electronic voting in public elections because of exactly those things, that we have the electronic identities and we have the electronic signatures, and they do actually sort of help to organize then public elections as well. So, okay, so that makes a lot of sense that then the first sort of, I would say also kind of legal tech startups here in Estonia started to come from the area of cryptography and guarding data integrity, which is the example of Cybernetica from 1997 and the example of GuardTime from 2006, which was sort of we call it one of our first blockchain companies here in Estonia. They focused on exactly the same thing, what was under threat during the Bronze Night and the cyber attack, which is the securing and guarding data integrity, so the government data, the individual's data, and also securing digital identities and privacy enhancing sort of technology. And I think a lot of ideas that have come about in the compliance tech and interoperability tech and legal tech in general in Estonia are actually sourcing their ideas from these companies. But okay, if we move on to the sort of today, then today, last month actually, we had a startup day in Tartu, the second biggest city in Estonia, and EID Easy was one of the startups who won some investment in a pitching competition. And the idea of this technology is merely interoperability between identity and digital signature service providers. I don't know how many of you know, but the digital signature or electronic signature sort of service provision and also like exchanging signatures across borders here in Europe is really very broken in this sense that we don't really use each other's systems. Like Estonia has our own system, but you probably are not able to use it unless you bother yourself to go and download the specific application and get an Estonian e-residency based ID identification, which means that there must be an easier solution, and EID Easy is trying to create a solution to overcome this sort of locking in of the digital signature system that we have here in Europe. So other technologies that are sort of current and really like happening right now and on the market right now and doing really well, which I regard as part of legal tech, are really in compliance tech, and I see them popping up everywhere actually. And Salv is one of them. Salv is actually was founded by Fraud Solutions team in Skype and Wise, which are the two well-known startups here in Estonia as well. It's focusing on also anti-money laundering regulation and compliance under this. But what it creates, what is very special about it, is the bridge between different fintech and different banks, so that they could real-time across borders share information what they have. Then there is other compliance tech, which is Complock, which is again AML regulation compliance and GDPR compliance, and even Soft Comply, which is also targeting both medical software, GDPR, and actually also for the AI Act compliance. And third, or actually fourth one in compliance tech is S-Grid, that is targeting compliance obligations under CSRD, ESRS, and the forthcoming Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. So a lot of compliance tech coming here. There is an AI negotiation tool called Pactum that is also mostly targeting US market and not really here. And then, as I said, there are some tools like Exfo, Avocado, that was also on the screen of the previous presenter, Hugo Legal, that are making lawyers' lives easier, but not really being like globally represented at the moment. C-Respect is one of the practice management tools coming really just now from one of the biggest law firms here in Estonia. So that's my presentation for today. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, and I hope questions will be during the panel discussion. And I see already that you cover one of the most important question that our audience asked during the registration: how it's become possible for Estonia to become such cool in tech. And I must say that your answer was more than open for this, and I'm very grateful for that. But I want to ask to join us Laura, and she will also ask how it's possible to, and what the shiny Spain can give us as legal tech market. And I will waiting for you for panel discussion, because I already see that some audience have a question for you. Laura,
yes,
thank you. Is yours.
Oh, sorry.
Presentation already.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Now. So thank you very much for this, and it's very interesting to listen to what Anna and Przemysław before had to explain. I must say that I have taken a slightly different focus to talk to you about the legal tech market in Spain. I still hope that it's of interest for you. So first thing of a bit of context for the legal tech market in Spain. Spain has, apart from Sun, we do have quite an interesting market in this regard, in the legal tech regard. First, we do have a healthy tech industry. One just example would be the mobile, where the Mobile World Congress happening every year in Barcelona, which has become, I think, one of the most important European event in terms of tech. We also have a very strong legal market. I don't know whether you know it or not. There are a lot of lawyers in Spain. There are more lawyers in Madrid than in the whole country of France. We have all kind of actors within the law firms. We do have big Spanish law firms. We also have international, we have the American ones, we have the English ones, we have the legal arms of the Big Four. Everyone is there, everyone is in Spain. So of course, having the tech there, legal tech, there is obviously quite an appetite for legal tech, which is what we're going to talk about today. I see that, for example, Anna was saying that Przemysław before had mentioned Estonian companies in his own presentation. I must say I've avoided this problem of deciding which legal tech is actually Spanish and which one is international and coming to Spain. What I just want you to know is that we have it both or many ways, meaning that we do have Spanish legal techs having grown quite much and having internationalized themselves. Most famous ones would be probably Uvelex or Vilex, as I guess it must be called internationally. Red Points, Signataret. Then we also have strong actors on our market. So we do have in all kind of, I will discuss afterwards about the different activities, I mean the different scope of the legal techs we have. But we do have several such as Reclamador, Legal, or Doc Expresso, who are like very Spanish and not yet much internationalized, but consolidated in our market. And then, of course, we do have a lot of international players who have decided to come to Spain. We have big ones, American and European ones. We have, for example, Wolters Kluwer in this. Now we do have the Karnov Group, we have Lefebvre, we have Illuminate, we have HiQ, we have brought, I would say, in part by the international law firms who do have at times some international guidelines in terms of the tech they can or they shall or shall not use. So we have this, same for in-house legal departments, which sometime or many times actually share between the different divisions, the different country divisions, what to use and what not to use. So which also allows this penetration of foreign tech or legal tech into different markets. They're talking about national and international players. I guess it makes sense to stress out that the specific position in Spain being at the same time European, Mediterranean, and also the bridge to the Spanish-speaking America. So we also have quite a privileged position there. and quite similar systems to many countries in LATAM. So that's also why it makes it interesting for techs to go through Spain in one way or another. I'm going to, okay, so now let's discuss the type of players who are in Spain, the legal tech. So as I guess, in at least most European countries, big players are legal publishers. The legal publishers who have in turn become through legal databases have grown a lot and incorporated and integrated a lot of new services and a lot of new tech, and they provide a lot of legal tech services. So we have here in Spain many of them. As I said before, we have this kind of group, which is a Nordic group which has actually bought two main players in the Spanish legal tech market. So now it's quite big, but we also have others such as Lefebvre, which is a European group originally and still headquartered in France. So we have that. We have many startups. We have some consolidated companies already, Spanish ones, and we have for the two last categories that you see here, law firms and in-house legal departments. I think it's always very important to mention them, and I'm glad that there is Miles after who will talk from his law firm perspective, because that's I would say part of the iceberg that is hidden, right? Because many times law firms and or in-house legal departments, because they many times don't commercialize their tool, it's not as well known as the standalone legal tech companies on the market. But that doesn't mean that they're not doing a lot of things and that they're not moving a lot the market. So I think it's really worth mentioning them. As for the activity, the scope of this legal tech companies and products, so we have, and that is, I would say, quite different and probably more popular here than, for example, in France. That's the market I know best. We do have online legal services, so that would fall in the category. And was putting it before of the legal tech to substitute the lawyers, right? But there is also a lot of legal tech, according to me, which supports lawyers, and some also other legal tech that do both things, supporting lawyers and also sometimes substituting the lawyers. So this division is not always very obvious to me, I would say. So we do have also the legal databases. We have many case management tools. We do have quite several e-signature tools too. We have directories like marketplaces. We also have document automation. We have CLM, contract lifecycle management. We have cybersecurity. We have compliance tools. We have workflow automation. I will not show maps like Przemysław showed before. I think the last I've looked around, and I think the last ones for Spain date back from 2021 or 2022 at the latest. We used to have several of these maps, but I think they're quite outdated. And it's always quite difficult, as I said before, to decide on what is there. Is it all the legal techs coming from wherever they come operating in Spain, or are we only talking about national legal tech? So the difference is not always easy to make. And but here is a non-exhaustive list of the focus of the different legal texts that we have in the country. all this is, of course, independent from the Gen AI revolution. I mean by that, well, I think we've all talked about and we'll all talk about Gen AI. I think that it really has an impact on the market. It has an impact in the sense of the democratization of the access to tech for lawyers. It was mentioned before that I think most of the markets are many solo or very small law firms, not only and not mainly the big ones that we all know and look at. And Gen AI has really, I think, changed the way people and lawyers consider tech, because it has suddenly become accessible to everyone. So all the lawyers who used to say, okay, legal tech is for big firms and I don't have the means and I don't have the money and I don't have the time, that is completely changing the game for everyone. And that's in this sense that I'm talking about an actual revolution of the Gen AI surge. And it is also, of course, starting to change the behavior and the models of the fees and the budget, and which is bringing me to what is missing in legal tech currently, because what is there is I will provide resources for those who really want to have a thorough view of the legal tech ecosystem in Spain. There are several guides available. But what is really missing is, on the one hand, there are not many tools regarding how to charge. I'm not talking about financial tool. I'm talking about how to make proposal, how to make a budget. So there is not much in this space. And another space where there is not much, or at least not enough, is in terms of data. Not that much tool that process and use and provide insights by firms or legal departments' data. But as I'm saying here, it's normal because the best is yet to come. What I mean by that is that the revolution of Gen AI is really making firms and legal departments change the way they consider the legal services, how they charge, how they pay, and what they provide, and what the concept value is becoming. So we are suddenly facing a period where, I mean, everyone is competitors, everyone is clients, and hopefully everyone would be friend at some point in this industry. We have the in-house legal department, which are generally the ones pushing, because they're always asked to provide more for less. So their kind of internal teams can be competing with firms, can be competing with legal techs, which can even be competing with just now tech, not specifically for legal. So there is suddenly, we're at a very, I think, interesting and important moment where the actors of the legal tech market and more broadly the legal market are completely changing the mindset and the way the services are provided. And that's really interesting, as I said, because now lawyers with this Gen AI revolution are realizing that they can't live without it. They must, because they are outdated if they don't. So they think that they really need to use it. And and on the contrary, society also understand the very, very important place of lawyers in this specific moment, because they need legal professionals to think about all the use of tech. So I think that's actually that's not at all the end of lawyers. On the contrary, that can be differently, but very, very important and serious age for lawyers currently, thanks to this tech. And obviously, whoever knows me knows I'm much more about people. So the communities, and in Spain we have very, very rich and interesting communities, managing to put together all these different industry players, which are the in-house lawyers, law firms lawyers, the legal tech providers, the tech providers, and they're all making the chance. And so we do have, of course, the ELTA community, the legal hackers community, but there are also in Spain quite a lot of other communities, organizations pushing quite hard on this, as, for example, the Friends of the Global Legal Tech Hub, Inquietos, which is a community of professionals from the management part of law firms and legal departments. There is Women in a Legal World, which is, as the noun says, a community of women, but also dedicated to innovation, at least part of it. So, and there are a lot of courses, there are a lot of accelerators. For example, one of the biggest law firm, Cuatro Casas, has every year its accelerator program. There are hackathons going on. So there are a lot of initiatives. The bar associations are also doing stuff. So professionals are really trying to move and to create this innovation community that will bring everyone into the future. And I can't finish without talking about these values that seem to be stronger and stronger. I feel we still, all of us in the innovation space, need to push a bit further. But finally, and I must say, thanks also to this Gen AI surge, user centricity is finally a thing. And people are, that's really pushing the creativity and the experimentation side of the lawyers to have a really quick at hand tool to try, do things, test with the users, with the clients, whether it makes sense or not. So we are seeing these values are really relevant, very relevant, more than ever. And this new push of legal tech is really promoting those as the main ones that legal professionals must have if they want to be future-proof. So apart from that, I think I'm still within I've respected the time frame. If you want more information, I'm happy. You can drop me an email there, or of course ask some questions on the chat, on the comments. And we're creating a list of links that would be relevant for you. So in my case, I didn't give that many examples as my fellow speakers about concrete legal tech companies in Spain, but I will send this to anyone interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aurora. And I must say that a lot of even topic that you already touch, let's say, they also was one of the question our audience, for example, about let's say cross-border cooperation. And thank you for touching this topic. We will discuss it a bit later during the panel discussion more. But I must say that it's interesting that we have we have very different, I think, culture, even some features from Spain, I must say, and probably France also, is Ukrainian population, let's say. But still, I heard the same excuse from lawyers about using AI and also about using a lot of tools. And I must say that it's quite even funny that people afraid of AI more than they want to check even how it's work. And after, let's say, a couple of lessons in our Legal Academy, it's our academy for lawyers to increase their tech skills. Let's say they always say like, "Oh, I thought the ChatGPT is so stupid, but I just didn't know how to use it." And it's quite, I think, quite relevant for any technology.
Yeah.
I hope, Miles, you don't have such problems as legal tech community, because I must say that probably more beneficial lawyers must be exactly from UK and probably USA, because it's English. It's the first language that add in almost each tool, I think. So I'm curious how it's influence on your market. Maybe also that you from the beginning creators of the most used language. It's also somehow help in other areas. So stage is yours, and I'll leave you.
Awesome. No, we definitely have it a lot easier over here when it's all in English. And I think a lot of my English colleagues will say we sometimes feel a bit guilty because we're like, we don't speak any other languages, only English, and even then we barely speak English. So yeah. So hello everyone, I'm Miles, and as you can see from the slide, I'm from Taylor Wessing. So just a little bit about myself, if you didn't hear earlier, what's quite bright. So I'm a technology and data lawyer, but I'm also a legal designer in our firm, and I also sit within our innovation and technology team in the heart of the firm. So that's a team that looks at technology internally that we use as lawyers, but also technology that we try and use with clients we try and put out there into the world as products, for example. So I think you'll see from a UK perspective, actually, there's a lot of similarities within Europe, but it's also probably, I'd say it's a lot more commercialized and maybe there's a lot more of it, and everyone's very quick to adopt it. So the way I've thought about it in the UK is in 3 sections. So there's regulators. So the regulators themselves are using technology. I said GC solutions. So they're like your businesses or general counsel. So normally my sort of clients. And then the firms themselves, where I'll talk a bit about what we're doing and other firms are doing, so you can get an idea of the landscape. So looking at regulators, there's quite a lot of regulators here, and these are the ones that I kind of deal with, so I'm quite familiar with them, and they're all using tech behind the scenes. So, and it covers a whole array of areas. So you can see here the data protection, that's kind of a lot of my bread and butter. They're using tech very simply at the moment. So the idea here, and I think we alluded to it earlier, it's that a lot of technology solutions are there, not necessarily to replace lawyers, but it's to do the work that maybe clients are asking us to do, but really shouldn't be, because it's not really profitable for us to do it. And it's kind of work that if you just had a bit more knowledge, you'd be able to do it yourselves, or you can get that first step. So a really good thing here is the ICO. They've got a lot of self-assessment questionnaires, lots of interactive parts where you can go in. If you've got a data protection question, you can jump into their website, go onto their platform, and kind of figure out the answer yourself if you're very simple. If you're quite a complex business, that's where you need to knock on my door and then go, hey, Miles, okay, I need a bit more advice. And even though it's not the UK strictly, I did want to mention this because it came out last week. So the European Data Protection Board, they released their website auditing tool last week. So this is an auditing tool where they audit all these, like all the websites, all the data protection authorities will use it. And you can basically go into it and you can see in real time how like cookies are being used or other identifiers. And it's the sort of tool that the regulator themselves use, which is quite handy for us. And then a few other bits. So one other interesting thing, if you live in the UK, HMRC or HM Revenue and Customs, that's your tax authority in the UK. And in the UK, it's been notoriously bad because if you have a question, you can't get through to them because there's a huge backlog on the phone. There's just a lot of waiting times. So what they've started to do is they're doing their own LLM. So you can go in, start asking the chatbot questions, and it'll start producing responses. Unfortunately, at the moment, they're having quite a lot of issues with it, so it's producing some quite wrong answers. But it's quite interesting because it's showing that even like the tax authority is really trying to push this. And another one I'd like to mention, I won't go through all of them, is the Advertising Standards Authority. They're quite tech heavy. They use a lot of tech behind the scenes, so they look at all the advertising in the UK. And one cool thing they do is they have technology that goes out and scans all the adverts. So it can be things like your Instagram ads, it can be just ads dropped on websites. And what it'll do is it'll pull all that data together, and then AI is overlaid on top of it so that the practitioners can filter through the ads. So they can put in certain queries, or there'll be certain identifiers that they'll be looking for, and they can use this database in their day-to-day work. So a good example would be influencer ads. So the law in the UK requires influencer ads to really specifically say, this is an advert, essentially. We can have a hashtag ad. And this is something that the ASA is really hot on. And so it's using this technology to go out there, grab all these like Instagram, TikTok ads, and then go out and approach all these people and go, okay, have you done this? Doesn't look like you're doing it. Have you made a mistake? Can you pull it down and put it back up? So that's quite like an interesting idea of what's going on behind the scenes and within the regulator space. So tech's very much at the heart. Now we're looking at GC solutions. Here I sort of got some quotes and some figures, but essentially what I'm trying to explain here is that there's kind of two main solutions that are used in the UK from a general counsel perspective. So a lot of them like e-billing or billing solutions. So here I've got Aperio. They're a really good software solution. What they do is, so typically in the UK, you'll have, if you're quite a large company, you'll use multiple law firms, and it's really hard to try and basically get all those budgets in play and just they put everything together. So what Aperio do is they agree with all the law firms to have feeds of their data that get released, go onto this platform, and the client can see all the law firms they're instructing. They can see all the budgets, all the different matters, and then go into each matter granularly and see all the different narratives. So every time I'm recording my 6 minutes and I'm typing in what I'm doing, they can go in and see that, which is really, really awesome for a lot of clients. That's what they want. Maybe not so good for the law firms when they're like, okay, don't really want to do that. But that's one of the key aspects. And then another one is sort of contract lifecycle management. This is quite big in the UK, but from sort of a smaller scale. So like I said before, if you're operating like a medium to large scale business, not necessarily too international, then you'll probably use one of these like Juro or Clio, and they're sort of like whole management solutions. The only issue with these is because it's a whole management solution, they provide a many-to-one solution. So there's limited flexibility in what you can do. So you might have to change your business model a bit to fit the solution rather than the other way around. But they're really, really good tools, and they're really, really good to just look at and just see how you can make them fit within your business. And now going on to firms themselves. So looking at the firms, I've looked at externally and internally. So externally, a lot of firm tech used in the UK is to create these portals. I think someone mentioned Haiku earlier before. There's also Everlaw and multiple other providers. And basically what we use these for is we use them in the context of deals. So we've got a data room. We use them to produce big platforms for clients, and we call them horizon scans. So here what we're doing is we're looking at the law in the future, looking at all the developments, and then we're creating these quite nice and pretty dashboards that say a general counsel or a like informed business team can look at, and they can go, okay, what's coming up? So do I need to change anything in my business? How do I become compliant? They can just see it all in a very nice dashboard. We use them for international coordinations, and also my friends in the litigation teams, they use them to track cases. So if we've got hundreds of cases for a certain client, then they can go into this dashboard and check all the cases. Where are they in the courts? What are they doing? And get up to date. And similar to that, we're starting to build platforms on Power BI to do the billing process of that. So similar to Aperio before, we're trying to do that internally for our clients just on a one-to-one basis. And then finally, externally, we've got our own sort of technology called Outpace. And this is quite different, and it's focused at tech startups and their founders. Because again, it's sort of like the contract management cycle solutions. We've produced some software and some packages that are specifically aimed at tech founders to basically get them, when they've started their business, to accelerate them through all the funding stages and get them compliant there. So it's quite interesting. It's something that we've particularly because we're very tech focused, it's something that we found quite useful, and we're building that at the moment. And then moving on to internally, what we're doing, there's quite a lot of technologies you can see that we use as a firm. And I tried to break it down a bit, but we use a lot of document review technology. So this is like technology that's basically replacing my trainee sometimes, which they're happy about, but sometimes I think it takes away from their learning. So their document review technology will look at defined terms in a contract. So I might have a 100-page contract, and as we're negotiating it, there might be defined terms in there that we don't use, or things that are defined that are used but not defined, and cross-referencing and things like that. So that saves me a lot of time. Then I've got collaboration tech. So Jigsaw is quite a cool example. What that is that's sort of, you can create lots of funky flow charts on that, and I use that with clients in real time. So if I'm trying to understand their data flows or their business models, for example, we can map it out on a call, which is really interesting. There's deal tech. So closing folders is really good, interesting tech, and Litera does a similar function. What that does is you can manage the whole deal process through it, but at the end of it, you can create a bundle for the client. So they've got all the documents in one place, really easy to filter through, done. It saves us hours. Again, saving a trainee hours a lot of the time. A fun thing that we're doing at Taylor Wessing is we're giving feedback in the form of crypto to our colleagues. So we've partnered with MetaMask, and we get a MetaMask wallet, and you can send crypto to some of your colleagues, and then that can be cashed in for vouchers and certain things. And then finally, what everyone wants to talk about, artificial intelligence. So I went on a conference last week, and everybody there that was in sort of within business seems to be using Copilot at the moment. So that's a really interesting thing that a lot of lawyers, I think, are trying to get to grips with. And we have our own version called Lithium. There's lots of law firms that are the bigger ones are producing their own, but Lithium's our own one that we're actively using in the firm, and we're trying to train in the firm. And we're at the stage at the moment where we're trying to understand the different use cases, and then we're coming together and trying to develop it even more. Key challenges that I've thought about sort of as all this technology comes in is, what type of technology is it that's coming through? So you're pitching a particular solution that you can use, for example, across lots of professional services, or is it just purely legal? Or is it a sector-based solution? Like with Outpace, we have ours is very tech-focused, so for technology clients. Tech integration is a key thing. I'm a huge fan of web apps, and as long as it's not downloaded onto my desktop, because a lot of the time integration with other platforms makes it really difficult and clunky for lawyers to use, and you just won't get your foot in the door unless your technology is something that we really need. Cost and internationalization basically is quite a key thing here. So as a global law firm, one thing we struggle with is, okay, the tech's provided in the UK, but what if our German office want to use it? So for example, with our AI Lithium, we've just released that in our Hong Kong office. So being able to do that across the world is really key, so we can all use the same technology. Another key thing is the familiarity with technology. That's a bit of a challenge at the moment, because everyone's at very different stages of using, for example, AI. So there's a few of us that are really heavily into prompting, know how to use it. We can get it to do quite a lot of things, whereas you've got other people who haven't used technology so much at that level. And like we were saying earlier, the user interface is really key here, and also just having user enthusiasm for the tech. I think the sell is quite hard. And then one of just the main challenges that I'm finding at the moment with AI is it's replacing the learning aspect for more junior lawyers or trainees. So it's something where you might be reviewing a contract or reviewing hundreds of contracts, and you learn that way. But if I can get AI to do your job for you, then how do we fill that gap? And I think there might even be a technology solution to fill that gap. We just haven't got there yet. So that's enough from me at the moment. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from your questions when we join the panel.
Thank you, Miles, for your presentation. I must say that I'm very excited about UK market, and I have small trick for myself, as I'm also a legal tech entrepreneur. If I don't know what the next steps can be for my project, in fact, I just look on UK market and check in what you have, because so many tools you have for customers, also so many tools for clients like law firms, and even for founders. It's even inspiring, and it's also quite important to even keep eye not only on your market own, but also such progressive, I think, market as UK. And thank you for such gorgeous presentation of the market. And also I want to say that everyone must check the ecosystem of UK portal, because there are a lot of cool instruments. Miles also let's say mention some of them, but it's much more, and it would be good for, I think, everyone to check it. Thank you again, Miles. And we also want to invite our last but not least speaker, Petro, from Ukraine. Of course, probably for me, this pitch will be the most interesting, because it's always interesting to see another point of view of your colleague. So I will not take more your time, Peter, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, and thank you other speakers for introducing legal tech markets in your countries. Let's review what is happening in Ukraine on the legal tech market. So some words about me. I am alumni of Legal Design School. I am working as a Chief Innovation Officer and Head of AI practice at Juskutum Law Firm. Also, some of our project was nominated by Financial Times Innovative Lawyers, and I'm ambassador of European Legal Tech Association. So we are developing our own legal tech project for access to justice since 2017, and also implement different solutions in our law firm for increasing efficiency. So when we talk about legal tech in Ukraine, I think that it's more than 15 different categories in the legal tech market in Ukraine. I would like to provide information about each of these categories, or most of them, and to compare it with international markets. It can help you to understand more about legal tech markets in Ukraine, and maybe to find ideas to create the solutions in the category which is absent, or which is more perspective from the worldwide. And when we talk about the first 4 categories, it's about e-billing, contract drafting, contract lifecycle management, and contract review. All of these categories are presented in Ukrainian markets. Usually it's the solution from the legal 360. It's the major player in Ukrainian legal tech markets, but different companies create their own solutions and to implement it in Ukraine also. And when we talk about contract review, we talk about solutions which are using artificial intelligence or some part of artificial intelligence to analyze or predict some use cases in this category. Another 4 categories: due diligence, e-signature, legal research, and case research. And most of providers are in signing category, and there are part of private companies, but also we have one of the major player on the e-signature market. It's government portal DIA, and their DIA signature, which is very popular for customers market, and maybe in the future they will provide e-signature also for business. And but when we see on this part of categories, we see that due diligence or e-discovery platform are not provided in Ukrainian market, and maybe somebody will develop the solution in this category as well. Another categories, 4 categories, is case management system, knowledge management system, IP platform, KYB and KYC platform, and we have some providers in each categories. But when we talk about knowledge management system, it's more than just general solutions which are available in each market, like Notion, SharePoint, OneNote, or Loop from Microsoft. But I don't see the special providers in especially for Ukrainian legal knowledge management. But at the same time, case management system, we also have the great example of JustNote, which provide different solutions for management cases, management matters, some court cases, and it's very convenient solutions with very good UX and UI, from my opinion. Also, one of the big category in Ukrainian market is solution for KYB and KYC, and different providers like Open Data Bot, uControl, Contragent are presented in this category. But when we talk about IP platform, right now we don't have IP management system. Some of solutions was closed after Russian invasion, but we have the project Lawyer, which provide IP protection services in internet, and there was the winner from the Hill Innovation of Justice, and they are working in international markets as well. Also, the next category is prediction and litigation technology. In this category, we talk that these solutions are also using artificial intelligence. It's a solution from the Liga, from the Sud Nadolony, and from the Supreme Court in Ukraine. And these solutions are usually right now using NLP model, but not LLM model, but I hope they will develop LLM or integrate LLM models in their solutions also. And when we talk about process optimization or legal metrics, it's also solutions which are accessible in different markets, but not only in Ukraine. Also, when we talk about legal tech market in Ukraine, we are talking that different law firms or legal departments implement some of the process management or a case management system. Some of them developed their own solutions for improvement efficiency, but some of them are also using accessible legal tech solutions. But also one in this presentation are not provided, but there are also one of the big category. It's solution for access to justice. Different legal tech companies like Pravman or other create different interesting solutions for access to justice for customers, and which develop some consultation or some drafting agreements which are accessible for citizens in Ukraine, and some of them are popular. And also another big category in Ukraine, it's government tech, and our government develops different solutions of access to the government services. It's the portal DIA and DIA app, which simplifies the process of access government services. Also, we have electronic court systems, and attorneys and parties can file their claim during these systems and get court decision in electronic form also. Also, we have different communities in Ukraine which are also very popular. One of them is Lingo Academy. They provide different educational system, and for lawyers. And if you are interested to learn more about legal tech or simplifying some processes, developing legal tech solutions, is very interesting proposition for you. Also, we have the same idea and another community. It's a legal design lab, which provide also education about law and technology. We have Kyiv legal hacker communities, which you can write and ask any questions or suggestions in your case or in your company. Also, we have ELTA, but in ELTA right now we are working more in different reports, but not organized events before. Also, we have a legal tech buyer's guide. So if you are looking for any solutions for your firm or company, you can go there and find different solutions which can work for your case. Also, when we talk about AI, ELTA has published generative AI report. So if you're interested in this matter, you can download and review this. Also, when we talk about legal tech fundraising, unfortunately, after Russian invasion, some programs like Equal Legal Tech Challenge or HEAL Innovation Justice Challenge was closed in Ukraine. But right now, Ukrainian Startup Fund also provide fundraising or grants for legal tech companies as well. So thank you so much for this quick overview of Ukrainian market. Be brave, collaborate to innovate and create legal tech solutions. If you have any question, let's write, and I think we will move to the panel discussion with the speakers.
So we've lost Regina, yeah?
Yeah, I have written to her.
Okay, but maybe we can just have a nice discussion.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that in Ukraine there is so much happening at the space.
Thank
But
you.
you have a very big market, and this is one of the differences that we have with Estonia. That Estonia is such a tiny market. There's no point of developing something specifically for our market. It makes no sense economically. There's about 1,200 attorneys in our bar, and we have one bar. Can you imagine that, Miles?
It's very different to the UK for sure. That's
Yes, exactly.
That was the actually the one point I took from your talk, and a lot of other people's talk as well, is like how much like electronic signatures are used, but everyone has their own electronic signature and things. Whereas in the UK, we're just we've been doing electronic signatures for quite some time, and we've kind of been it's really funny actually when we work with our German colleagues, because Germany I think has been one of the countries where they've been the least happy to adopt electronic signatures, and so we've been doing it for a long time, and then each time we try and do an international deal, and then all the lawyers are like, yes, let's get it done, and then we're like, oh no, Germany. so which is quite funny, but now they're coming through. It's very funny to see how different countries, different jurisdictions are implement the technology differently, like you say. But it's quite good that we're all getting somewhere that we can just make life easier for everyone.
But I would even also say that publications and also international law firms are not interested in moving here, because we're actually that tiny that none of the international law firms are represented here. And none of the publications are offering us like services that we want or use. But we don't have a disadvantage because of this, because all the legal acts in Estonia are available digitally in Estonian and in English, surprisingly, yes. And all the court cases are available digitally. All the business registries communicate with the notaries. There's notary portals. So there's a lot of things that the government has done from the early 1990s to sort of get us up to the level that we don't need anyone to sort of come on the market to provide us these services, because we have them. But Regina, you joined us. We started already discussing.
Yeah, thank you for catching me in this moment, because I think that it's too much information about technology for my laptop, and it's started to be overloaded a bit. It's quite interesting discussion, in fact, because in Ukraine we also have, I think, quite good a lot electronic signature culture, but for sure it's something that we must develop, because probably Piotr will agree with me that we have 2 points of view. One part of lawyers will tell you that they use electronic signature almost every day, at least 5-6 times a day, and all their customers also use DS signature, Justin, etc. And others who can say that I will not go to tax authority and have a DVD disc with signature. And you can be shocked, because I think almost 5, even 7 years, normal lawyer who use such technology even don't know that tax office provides such options. So it's quite interesting how, in fact, Estonia developed this culture of technology. And I'm even curious did it change education of lawyer? Because now we have such problem that on the market we have a lot of cool projects, cool tools, but unfortunately lawyers is unable to use it because of the lack, first of all, knowledge, and after that some trust. So did you feel some changes in this area in educational system in Estonia, or just let's say enthusiasm of lawyers to use such technologies?
I would say the same thing that I presented in the presentation, that like, of course, the millennial Gen Z, they have been brought up with technology. Digitalization is like their life. My 13-year-old will tell me that she can't imagine life without internet, right? But I experienced internet only when I went to the university, so life can be very different. And I think in Estonia, we also, although there's 1,200 members of the bar, there are still a considerable percentage of members who have this experience that technology is not their best friend, and they're used to doing something more on paper. It doesn't mean that they don't have the digital signature available to them. It's always attached to their ID, and we're always the state has basically, then there is a norm that you have to have your ID card. You have to have an ID card that has a chip, and the chip is connected to the certificate of your electronic identity and electronic signature. It doesn't necessarily mean that the 60 or 70-year-olds will use them, but they have it available, and they will get training, and they have access to all kinds of e-learning possibilities. But I would say that in majority, the legal education has changed because of the fact that everything is available digitally. You have to be able to do legal research online, and this not on the basis of paper format materials. Of course, you have books as well, but it's so much more easier, as Miles was also saying, saves you so much time if you know how to do the legal research online. And I think in legal education, this is the part that is sort of changing, that the Bar Association exams are mostly about you doing the legal research online, not like you knowing law.
It's quite inspiring, and I said that I was very surprised when Przemysław also told that they have so many educational tools and so many educational programs for lawyers, because unfortunately in Ukraine our Bar Association cannot say the same about the impact, because mostly you even need to apply by sending the documents like on the paper to Bar Association, and it's quite hard to digitalize someone who even maybe from my perspective a bit against. And it's good question about even let's say possibility and borders of the using technologies. And we have two representatives of I think the most broad market in language frames. It's Spain and England. Do you feel advantage of tools that produced for these markets? First, I know that even a lot of LLM systems and let's say tools more adapt for your languages, not special for Laura, because I think that native one is French, but it's also quite popular for training a language. And English, of course, first one that was trained, and I think have a huge distance between other languages. But do you feel it in your day-by-day work as lawyers, and in having, let's say, set of the tools that legal tech market can provide? Laura, if you can be first, it would be gorgeous.
Okay. First, it made me think about what you were saying about the UK earlier, because I remember I used to attend the British Legal IT Forum years ago, and it used to be mostly UK only tools, and it was very interesting for us coming from other countries to go and see but actually most of the tools we couldn't use because it was not at all adapted to other languages. It has changed. And it's true that in Spain we have, as I said in the presentation, we have this privileged location because we're in between Europe and South America in terms of culture, language, even legal system. So it's quite an interesting position. So we are aware that Spanish is being of interest. So either it is, I also think about an Estonian legal tech who reached out. I remember when they started, and they are now integrated in. They operate in Spain and in South America, which is Amber Law from Estonia. So yes, we do feel that we have a quite privileged position in terms of language, and that. I have native tools in Spanish, or more and more we have English-speaking tools and LLM trying to adapt and being adapted. Yet, and I say this as a linguist, there is still differences between. One thing is to speak the same language, and another thing is that you don't always use the same terms for the same things. So Spanish, just as the English is different in the UK and in the US, Spanish is different in Spain than it could be in Peru, in Mexico, or in Argentina. So this is yet another issue. I don't know, Mike, if you want to go ahead from there.
Yeah, no, I think from our perspective as well, it's definitely driven by the US because all the big players are normally, like at least LLM based, are in the US, and they talk about this war between the US and China and who's going to win the race with AI. So I think, at least from a UK perspective, we're very, very privileged in the sense that they're all being built sort of on the English language a lot. One of the funny applications of it is that we might use it to translate English or translate another country's language into English. So I do wonder actually whether in the future there'll come a point where it won't be so different. But I don't know if it's the case of how much training material the AI will need, whether that's available. As you say, there's lots of nuances, and the AI, not everybody really knows how the AIs work. So you're wondering what decision making it's making. They say it's like bias, for example, with race, or like we saw earlier with DALL-E. If you ask it to produce a picture of a lawyer, they're in a suit, they're at their desk. I'm definitely not in a suit. I'm never in a suit. So there's lots of assumptions that it probably makes, and I think we've got a long way to go to see how it develops, and it'd be really interesting to see, definitely like country to country, whether there'll be localized solutions or whether something will happen within the AI space that means anyone can pick it up and run with it, and whether those nuances are as big as we think they are or not. So it's a really, really interesting topic, and one that I actually haven't thought about enough, being in my little UK bubble, as I'm playing around with the AI.
Thank you. I must say that my even correct tools also still fighting what English is better, UK or USA. But still, yes, it's fact that there are lots of tools, but it's also depend how to use tools, and unfortunately, not all lawyers understand how. And maybe I have another question that was very popular, let's say, in case when the people was registered, and it was also addressed to Anne, Petro, and Miles, because in your presentation we saw that the government is also one of the main competitors for legal tech market, and as, let's say, entrepreneur in the Ukrainian legal tech market, I must say that when your country producing so many cool tools, you start to nerve that one day you will wake up and you will not have even area to automate something. But how you think from your perspective, do market feel the competition between government and private, let's say, initiatives And I first of all want to address this question to Anne, because I think that in case of Estonia, instruments and governments looks like a dance. Yes, when you introduce, when government introduce something first, and after that, market also use it for inspiration. But from the, let's say, your perspective of view, does market feel this competition?
Well, as I said, there's no point of like doing something with private funding in Estonia for the local market only, because like two things. First is that it's too tiny, and the other is that yes, there might be a government initiative already doing it. This has been experienced by this know-how management tool, Xlaw, which is developing a plugin for the legal acts published by the government. And the plugin is sort of helping you to make all the information about, for example, a specific clause in a legal act available in this clause. So you click a button and you can see everything ever written about this clause, either in court cases or in opinio juris or in legal research or in some commentaries. So you will it will pull everything together into this one clause. But if the government sort of assigns public funds for doing something like this for the legal acts portal itself, then you have lost your private money because the government sort of competes with you. So yes, there is a possibility of like having this competition because the government always wants to sort of advance its offering. But at the same time, you should, I think all of the legal tech innovation here should focus on the global market more than the local market.
Maybe that's why Estonian entrepreneurs are so active in scaling, because I know that even in Ukraine there are lots of CRM system that was launched by our Estonian colleague, and they quite, I must say, popular in Ukraine. Miles, I also know that your government even have very good libraries of consultation, and I must say that it was even inspiring and cool to hear about tax office, because it's my dream to have such even chatbot for myself, because tax area is probably the most awful for even lawyers. So do you feel or do you see this competition between your government and your legal tech market?
I think if we take like a step back in the UK market, a lot of the technologies that the regulators or the government are producing, they've normally got someone behind them. So it is someone from the private sector that has come in and they've developed the technology with the government, which tends to happen all the time. I think one of the key things which works really well in the UK, will do when the tech works really well, is that it will fill that gap where really like lawyers shouldn't be getting involved. So if you're, for example, when I was younger and I worked at a bakery on a Saturday, that bakery shouldn't be coming to a law firm to figure out how to deal with data protection compliance, for example. It's a waste of their money. They need to focus on making cakes. They don't need to be spending loads of money on legal bills. And I think that's what the government and all the regulators are trying to fill. They're trying to fill that gap where they're like, okay, it shouldn't really be that complicated. Here's a tech solution. If we can train an LLM to help you, we can kind of communicate all of that legal knowledge in a user-friendly way, and we can answer your questions directly. And you haven't had to pay any legal fees. You're compliant, and it saves everyone a lot of money, because then it saves the regulator coming and chasing after you, which costs a lot of money. A law firm's not really going to do that kind of work because it's not profitable. And so there's not really a enthusiasm in the private sector to provide solutions like that. So it's filling a gap that would just exist if the government didn't fill it in that sense. So I think it's a really, really like positive approach, really.
I must say your worth inspiring because we have something the same in Ukraine, but probably our government, from my perspective, too productive. But maybe Peter, correct me.
Yes, I think, but it depends on the problem solving, I think. For example, the popular use case, it's open data and access to different registers. And Ukraine is on the 31 place in Open Data Index, and we have a lot of open data, but it's in different places. For example, if you want to get information about companies, it's company register, about licenses register, and it's different places. But for example, Open Data Bot and uControl, Contragent just unite all this data in one system and created the solutions for working with this data and analyze, track changes, and to working with that. So I think when you talked about compete with the governance, you should think about which problem do you solve, and does the government solve the same problem or not? Another good use case, for example, it's Microsoft, which acquired a lot of startups, but they have a lot of different projects, but some of their projects some of their projects are not the good competitors for the leaders of the market. For example, they acquired Skype some years ago, but after that Zoom was created, or Google Meet, or another solutions, and they created the good solutions for some markets. I think the same with compete with the governments, and if you can provide some competitive advantage and solve some problems, you can create something. But you also should keep in mind that government can create something for free and accessible for citizens, and you should think how will you compete with this.
Yeah. Thank you, Petra. I must say that I woke up with this thought every day, because I'm exactly a provider of such help for citizens. But Laura, if you can to share with us how this dance look in Spain, is it tango or more passable with competitors?
I'm not sure. What do you mean? What do you?
I mean, I mean that does your let's say providers of legal tech tools feel this pressure also from government, or it's more beneficial for two of them, as Miles
well, we do have a specificity here, which are the regions. So we've been talking, actually, when Anna was talking about interoperability, we are having a specific issue here in Spain, which is interoperability within our own country, because the different regions use different systems. So that's an additional thing that is supposed to be solved, and every new government, they say, yeah, we will tackle this, and well, it's not happening. So we also have very, very good tech from the tax authorities, just as Miles was explaining. I think they're the ones really interested in having good good tech. So we do have that. But then we don't have a country to, for example, the case for Estonia, for us, and as compared with France, where I would say public authorities are, for good and bad, they're more present here in Spain. Not that much. So I must say this is really left to private space, private investment. So we don't have too much pressure on that, and we have support, I would say, from the public sector, as long as it's being done by someone else, not by them.
Thank you. And unfortunately, last question for our panel discussion will be addressed probably for Peter, Miles, and also Anne, because the question is, do you feel that lack of knowledge in even cybersecurity side also is the border for use legal tech tools? And do you think that in such case, for Anne, do you think that bar association must become the provider of such help, or it must be a separate activity for other legal tech specialists, or maybe legal tech counsel in that area? If it's possible, Anne, I will ask you first to answer this question.
I mean, cybersecurity definitely is very important in the current legal environment, considering the data protection issues and the data breaches that we have and data hacks. I think the bar associations, as was mentioned by Przemysław, the Polish colleague, whose name I'm trying to pronounce, that we also have here in Estonia cybersecurity guidelines for law firms and attorneys, how they should govern the data and how they should build their infrastructures. And I think it is crucial because of the digitalized businesses, because of every business going basically digital, that we recognize that as a key part of the knowledge that lawyers should have when practicing law now in the sort of digitalized world.
Thank you. Miles, probably as experts in the data protection field, you also can add. Maybe I have also my own curiosity question. Did you have maybe cases when other law firms comes to you to get such advice about cybersecurity, let's say questions, or maybe even data protection policy, or it's something unusual?
That's a really interesting question, actually. I think we've had cases where we've tried to collaborate with other law firms on. So if there's new technology that's coming out, then there's a couple other law firms we might work with. Be like, okay, we want to try and build this together, and there's some informal communities around that, but it's never really taken off because because they're just two competing businesses, and it's very, very hard to get law firm collaboration at the moment. But saying that, there are a few projects that I'm currently on at the moment where clients are forcing us to collaborate, which is really interesting. So saying, okay, Taylor Wessing, you're specializing in this, and then this other law firm specializing in that. So for those horizon scans that I was talking about earlier, where we're trying to give clients an overview of new legal updates, what they need to think about, that's a key example where we'll collaborate with other law firms. And in that case, we're doing it on like a Haiku platform, some sort of platform technology. And then there becomes a debate about which law firm controls it. And then the cybersecurity aspect comes in. How do we know that their platform is appropriate for the risk? And there's a whole lot of debate that goes around that. So it's a really, really interesting topic, and something I think we're going to see more of in the future. And one thing that I think is key that we talk about a lot in the UK is that if you're a lawyer in the UK, all the technology you deploy sort of has to go hand in hand with your internal technology team, and especially with AI. And that's something that the regulators are saying quite a lot now. They're saying, okay, it's no excuse to say you're a lawyer, you wouldn't know the security risks. It's more a case of you need to go out there and you need to be proactive and you need to work with your tech teams. And it's the same for data protection officers in businesses, anyone that's touching AI with a legal aspect to it. Those sorts of things go hand in hand, and the regulator's sympathetic. It's a challenge because we speak different languages. Essentially, lawyers speak very differently to the way IT professionals speak, and I think that's the big bridge that we have to get over. But we're getting there slowly, I think, with like things like this, for example, where we're saying legal professionals do understand the tech, but hopefully the tech team can understand the lawyers, and that's a bridge we'll get over.
Probably that's why legal tech start exist, because at least one lawyer start to understand another IT guy. Peter, I know that in your law firm, you're the main provider of cybersecurity skills, but did you have also maybe cases when other legal professional or maybe even law firms get from us such consulting, or it's just collaboration, as Miles mentioned?
Unfortunately, we don't have these cases yet, and I think that a lot of law firms should improve their cybersecurity issues, because we are working with sensitive information which protected under attorney legislation. And I think that National Bar should also pay their attention to the some webinars, some guidance for attorneys and lawyers to improve or to build cybersecurities in their firm. I think that right now we are just improving or implementing some European legislation also related to the GDPR, and right now developing some bills which will implement GDPR into Ukrainian legislation, but it's the long process during which a lot of law firms and attorneys association should self-regulate themselves and implement the best standards for this. Because I also, when we worked on the cybersecurities at Juskutum law firm, we have read different guidance at different bars around the world, in USA, in UK, and they have the understandable principles of improving cybersecurity. So I think it's very essential, important for each law firms in Ukraine.
Thank you, Peter. I must say that I have advantage because I also heard the good presentation from Przemysław, but offline in Poland, and I know that the Bar Association also conducts some lessons and even programs for their lawyers to increase cybersecurity skills and understanding of the importance of cybersecurity, because in field of that event conference, we also discussed that a lot of lawyers afraid to use technologies because they don't understand how exactly it's work. And for them, because they in Poland, they also have, let's say, obligatory to check all technology side and also cybersecurity side. They even afraid to use something new to not be punished for some liquids and etc. So in fact, it's a good point that Miles even mentioned, that collaboration in such fields, it must be key, I think, key idea or key even solution, because tools I hope might be Przemysław also on. Przemysław, we exactly talked about your activity in Bar Association, yes, and please maybe share with us as quick as possible your activity in Bar Association in field of increased cybersecurity skills of your lawyers.
Let's say Legal Tech Institute was created in the end of 21, and just from the very beginning, there was an idea to start working on at least some guidelines or maybe some educational materials for bar members. To improve at first awareness of the risks and just to in fact give them even basic tools to let's say to work with tech tools in legal practice, which is in fact also good for everyone's private life, because in fact all societies, I would say that probably even in Europe or in the world have just a poor level of awareness of cyber risks and cyber hygiene of using tools. So we've started working in 22 from the very beginning, starting from January, on cybersecurity guidelines. We've done it for a couple of months. Also discuss it with cybersecurity. First of all, with Science Institute for Cybersecurity and Tech in Poland, also with Cybersecurity Department of Prime Minister Office, just to exchange some knowledge and also some hints related to this topic. And at the end of 22, we finished our works, and in January 23, National Bar Council just introduced our guidelines. Maybe not short document, because in fact it has two parts and almost 40 pages. But it's a compendium of a lot of different guidelines related to different use of tools. We divided into not into, let's say, topic related as it's in ISO certification, but we thought that because of the awareness is on a poor level, we've decided to divide those guidelines on the basis of equipment. We have guidelines for using of computers, smartphones, using messaging apps, using, let's say, using and sending email correspondence. So rather by topic and type of use in our professional practice than just standard one based on processes in organization. And after that, we started some, let's say, trainings for that. From the beginning, it's non-obligatory, so it's just recommendations. But probably maybe not starting, but during this year, the character of this document will change, and after some modifications, it will be obligatory for the use of all advocates and training apprenticeship of advocates bar in Poland. So just in short.
Thank you, Przemysław. I think that lawyers get used to read more than 10 pages, so it's not such a big problem. And I would even use the opportunity of DeepL to maybe check your guidelines to inspire for even our community.
They are in open access on websites, so anyone can check it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I know that we finished a bit later than we promised you, but it was the pleasure to have you and also get and share your insights. It was a pleasure to have such speakers and also panel members.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Of course, this webinar will be recorded and we will publish the full video, because 2.5 hours, it's quite be challenging to follow. So please check out all our social media, and we also will share with you all materials that our speakers provide also this presentation. Thank you again for being with us, and have a pleasant evening.